Hello and welcome to a very wet Brands Hatch circuit here for the 11th round of the ACC Simpit League, here hosted by Simracing GP. My name is M.Vowles, as always. Thank you for joining us. As we've already got you guys in the chat already said, Booth's lurking, he'll be intermittently around. Good luck to everyone. Yep, well done Booth, thank you for popping in. Joa, I'm here just for the good girls. I don't think there's going to be good girls, especially today, considering it's very moist out there, shall we say. So, the guys are out in free practice at the moment, but it's going to be one hell of a wet race today. So, currently he's looking over at Leshmum in the Beamer, going a little bit too wide there. Coming down Park Hill Bend. So we also see some like shadowing from the cars. That's not anything from my end. That is unfortunately ACC when you're broadcasting in wet conditions, unfortunately. I've tried to make that as minimal as possible for you guys. Unfortunately, it's just something that's out of my control. So Lesh does have his rain light on, doesn't have his full headlights on, what's okay, not too bad. I would love full actual lights on though, in these conditions. So Mirasad is currently the fastest on track, as the Lesh one goes off track. So Mirasad is with a 1:38.7 in full practice. Should be a few others joining us today who have new to the championship, so we should have see Ruta join. We should also see another gentleman turn up. He will be in a BMW. Malta is in the Nissan, so if we had the entire grid who have signed up for our league, we should have 21 drivers today, but obviously during the summer period we do know our attendance numbers will be down. Hence why we only have today's round and then one more round next week, what is at Spa, and then we are done for the season. I hope everyone's having a good time at the moment in this extreme hot weather, especially here in Europe. I know you Americans who are watching and are quite used to these temperatures that we're having, but unfortunately UK homes we don't have air conditioning as standard. We're lucky to even have a roof fan in some of our houses, so not very great circulation of air, so everyone is on the struggle bus. So we're going at Mr. James Downing in his Audi. We'll go into the game chat and just let everyone know about lights, so people know it. So just put that message in, because as we can see, Mr. James Dowling does not have his lights on. So Mr. James Dowling at the moment is currently 3 seconds off of Mr. Amir Assad's lap time, so we can see how he's doing. Exactly, some people are sleeping, especially you lot over in the States with your silly time zone, and also Canada. In Europe it is currently 6 o'clock in the UK, so it is 7 o'clock European time. James's car there is not wanting to get on the power, maybe running a little bit too high of traction control in the car. Just blocking so much. He wants to run it as low as possible. Still be able to control the car, but I think that traction control is just a little bit too high. I would want to lower that down myself just so I actually still drive out to the corners, because at the moment it does look like the car just does not want to drive out of a corner. So still no lights on the James Burger. Having over and look at Mr. Jaroslav Galkov in the McLaren. He does have full headlights on and his rain light on, I do believe. No, he does not have his rain light. He's got his headlights on, but just doesn't have his rain light on. Callum McLeod is currently second fastest. Nice to see Callum doing well. He does get on very well, it seems, with the wet races that we have, so more of his thing, I think, with the rain. That's how Hygo Sherman now goes fastest. So as we said, it's a very, very wet circuit out there. But, you know, it's very close to a flooded circuit. Well, the guys going around, they will push a little dry line coming in. I think with the amount of rain on our small grid, it is going to be very hard for them to break through this amount of water to make a complete dry line. Black flag all the anti-lighters. I won't black flag them, I'll give them another warning before we go into qualification that we do want the rain lights on. Especially when it comes to the race, you do not want to be stuck behind someone you can only just barely see their normal lights, let alone a rain light flashing. Or some cars it's a solid light. And let's go for a big drift there. Drifting all the way down the hill. So we'll look over at Mr. Callum McLeod and his Mercedes. He's doing very well. See, he has his rain lights on and his headlights on. Not gone for the full headlight, just for his main lights. So for next season in the GT4s, Mr. Callum McLeod is actually going to bring out the Porsche Cayman, and also for the GT America series, he's also picked the Porsche 911. So that'd be a new car for him to be in. So not longer going to be with Mercedes after the season. So Chris Generelli, he may turn up. He is unfortunately been held at work. So Root is having issues getting into Simpit. Yes, he has selected all. So Rooter has signed up for the league. So that's why we're having router having issues. He has a ping limit set. So we should see him hopefully in a minute join the server. I'm going to come back to the broadcast so I can see how everyone's doing. Just coming up to 30 seconds remaining then of free practice. Ico goes fastest again. Buta is now in the server, ladies and gentlemen. He is here in the Nissan. Yes, he's not using a full custom livery. He is using a basic custom livery. It is his first race. He was literally signed up today, so no custom livery for him. And as it being early, I'm very late in the race. I'm going to let it slide that he's not running a real livery or a full custom. So Callum McLeod currently second fastest on the circuit. I think we need a wet race, heavy race for him. He'll do not too bad. Mirsad just getting it too wide there on exit, so his lap's now finished. No, his lap was still clean. Very surprised that that lap was clean. We're just waiting for the guys to finish free practice. Mirsad is now coming down into pit road. So Heiko Sherman, Mr. Router's in the pit, so we're just waiting on Heiko to finish his lap. And we will be then switching over into qualifying. So we'll go over to the intro for the circuit. As you can see, we've got a new overlay. This is something I've been working on for each round. We're going to have it for the next season in the GT4s. So as you can see, brand touch a little bit different in its weather configuration in the videos. So this was taken just yesterday at track, so weather was looking a little bit better than it is today. So we're going to head back over to the track as the guys are now out on track, getting up to running the full qualifying. Just looking at Mr. Mirsad. He has his lights on. Does it have his rain? Mirsad has his rain light. Mr. Canestep doesn't have his rain light on. Leshmub being a good boy as well. Joseph Galkov doesn't have his rain light on. Michael's Downing with his headlights on. And he does have his rain light on, which is nice to see. Mr. Ken Essep has spun it in the pit lane. Yes, Chris Generelli has made today's race. What is severely good news for him, as otherwise it is going to be a very easy win for the championship there for Mr. Heiko Sherman. So Callum is now on a lap. He is allowed to flash Router to say, get out of my way. You've just come out the pits. I'm on a lap. Router will be getting blue flags with Callum being within 1 second of him. But I do believe it's actually been increased to about 1.5 seconds now. Not 100% sure on that, but we will keep you up to date on that information. Getting a little bit loose, coming in. Router in front. So Callum McLeod should be the first driver to put a lap time in, I do believe. So we will bring up their qualifying best delta laps for you, as always. All the information will change after they get their first laps in for us. As Router is now getting blue flagged. Hope he don't hinder Callum too much. So Callum goes pole at the moment with a 1:39.005. As you can see, Callum's already down on his time. Mir-Saj just jumped into the first with a 1:38.442. Jaroslav Galkov's in third with a 1:39.290. As we see Mr. Root go off track, unfortunately. So he's going to need another lap to come around to get onto another valid lap. So we see Mr. James Dowling going off as well. I think it's going to be a battle of, can I keep the car on circuit today? One person I'm surprised we do not see, and that's Miss Natalie Lee. She's not with us. Unless from those bollards, I'm taking them. They're in my way. From Mr. Heiko Schumann. Looks like he's still trying to get some temperature up into his tyres. Unfortunately, Mr. Kennestep has gone off the circuit there. Like I said, it's going to be a battle of can I keep the car on track. And Mir-Saj is up quite a lot on his lap. He's up like 4.5 tenths. I think Heiko's just going to be biding his time. Maybe do 1 or 2 out laps. Currently on his first out lap now. So, going over the season, our current standings are Aleshmum is in 4th place with 105. Third one, Valkyries, Miss Natalie, who's not here at the moment, on 121 points. Chris Gianarelli, he is in 2nd place with 179 points. And Heike Schumann in 1st place with 205 points. So, if Chris Gianarelli cannot beat Heiko today, then Heiko will be crowned champion. Chris will need Heiko to not finish in the top 3 to have a chance of winning at Spa to take the championship. But we also have Betty Racing, Mr. James Dowling in 5th place with 61 points. He just overtook Callum McLeod last round, who's in 6th with 42. Jaroslav Galkov, he is in 7th with 38 points, same as Mr. Kennestep, who's in 7th, also on 38. Mr. Stephen McAfee, again, he's not made a couple of races because of not waking up in time, even though he's from the UK. His sleep pattern is out at the moment. He's on 37 points, so he's in 9th. Then in 10th place you have Mr. Mir-Saj. Unfortunately, he's not been here for quite a lot of the races, unfortunately, but the ones he has been here, he's done very well in. Unfortunately, last week he did have a disconnect just before the end. Then we have Mr. Andrew Jaski in 11th with 27 points. Carl Motorsport, obviously, he's no longer able to make the races due to work commitments. He is with 17 points in 12th. Booth is in 12th as well, also with 17 points. And we have Mr. John Crane in 14th on 16. Mr. Sean Cole in 15th on 8 points. Mr. Jeff Wills in his Mercedes in 15th, also on 8 points. Cafix Motorsport, Mr. Roger Clark, he's in 17th with 6 points. In 18th we have Mr. Terry Crouch with his 4 points. 19th we have Mr. Alex Lafos. And unfortunately then we have our 2 drivers who unfortunately have fully left the league, of Mr. Both Ramshield and Mr. Antonio Santos. So that is our current point standings. Again, Chris Generelli needs Alesh to have a big issue today. Not Alesh, sorry, Mr. Heike Sherman, to be able to take this possible championship at the final round. So Amir Assad currently in first with a 1:47.49. James Dowling a 1:47.947. Chris Generelli a Heiko Sherman's just gone faster with a 1:37.755. Chris Generelli's on a 1:38.2. Callum McLeod's on a 1:38.5. Joseph Galkov a 1:39.2. And let's remember 1:39.3. Ken Estep with a 3:59. I don't think he's actually hit a valid lap time, unfortunately. I think only his out lap was actually valid. As these guys are getting very close here. Woot, again, he's one of the drivers that has not got a valid lap time in there. That won't be a valid lap time in there either. Excuse me. I do apologise. So it's a very, very wet circuit out here. Woot's not braking early enough. It just looks like he's constantly understeering. Heiko Sherman is up by 6 tenths a second, 7 tenths of a second. That will put him in pole if he's able to maintain his lap. Callum McLeod lap, wasn't going to be massively down there. Unfortunately, deal with the traffic of Mr. Root, who does put a lap time in now of a 1:42.8. So even though it didn't look very clean, it was a valid lap. So he's got one in the books now. So not going to be last. He is improving slightly. There we go. A 1:37.382 from Mr. Heiko Sherman. That puts him up in pole now by only 0.11 of a second from Mr. Amir Assad. Can Amir get that time down? I do believe he can. At the moment he's not on the run for this lap. He's half a second off his personal best. So we do see Mr. Heiko Sherman, he's in the pit lanes at the moment. Stephen McAfee, he has woken up. We do have our Porsche here today. He's just jumped into the server, so flick over to him just to see. Hello, welcome back. Welcome to today. Good to see you here. But Callum McLeod is up on his lap time, so we're going to switch over to his place. Let's see how he finishes. Does improve his time but not position. He's less than he's half a second off, well half a tenth off, sorry. Oh, we'll have to avoid Mr. James Dowling and Amir Assad there. Those two have had contact. Naughty boys having contact in free practice. But unfortunately I did not have my race control app open. So we can't get an instant replay as of yet. But we do now have this information on my screen as well, so I will be able to see, but we won't be able to see as of now, unfortunately. I do have the information on my screen, so we might have to have a look back at it, see if there's any foul play. I don't believe there will be between the guys. But then, chat, thank you for joining again. You guys really do make the broadcast worthwhile. Obviously, I do put a lot of time and effort into making the overlays, making the deliveries for everyone, promoting the events, making the events for everyone. So it is all appreciated. Every like, every new subscriber, all helps me. It helps give me the willpower, the energy to keep making these, doing this for everyone. So it is all really appreciated if you smack the like button, give us a follow, well, subscribe. Sorry, we're not on Twitch here. We're on YouTube. Also, don't forget to follow our main channels. As Mr. Kenestep is really struggling in the rain. He does have a lap in of a 1:44.1, so quite a way off the pace, but he does have a valid lap in, what is good to see. Joseph Galkov is also showing yellow tags, but he is moving as well. Callum McLeod in the Spruce Racing, he's in the pits. So Mr. Stephen McAfee is now out on the circuit in his Porsche. Just touched the rumble strip there, as you can see. He touched the rumble strip and it went, no, we are going to slide on the paint or we're going to run wide. Side just not finding the pace that he had on that lap earlier on. Currently 4 tenths down on his time. Jaroslav Galkov, he's up in his time. Kenneth is now actually on another fast lap. So if he can improve. This one's unfortunately binned it as well. Jaroslav Galkov is up. He's the only car actually improving on circuit, so we're going to go over to him if the cameras decide to transition correctly. So he's up by 9 tenths of a second. This will push him. This will keep him in 7th. No, sorry, in 6th. I'm incorrect. Just a little bit more. Little bit more. There you go. Unfortunately, does keep him in 6th, as I said. But the times between Jaroslav Galkov and Chris Generelli now is under half a tenth. Mirsad, it was up and now he's gone down on his lap time as well. Everyone is improving in the midfield. It's just these front runners, they are struggling to produce another fast lap. I don't know if that's a bug or that is actual still damage sat on the front of Mr. Amir Assad's BMW. But if that is damage, I would have wanted to cut in and fix that a couple of laps ago. Because that front end damage is not going to help. Just nearly equaling his current lap time. Yep, less than half down. He should have one more lap after this one to improve, but Heike Sherman is still on pole. Chris Generelli, his championship rival, he is down in 5th place at the moment. Joseph Galkov currently equaling his time. Tiny improvement there. It's just falling out of it, just unfortunately. Okay, Amir Saad is up on his lap time. The time he is up at the moment, he will put his car and just lost it all again. But Heiko Sherman is still improving. He's no longer improving. I think the guys have had the best of the track conditions, it seems. Mr. Canasta, never giving up as always, still mustering his way around the track. With his last lap being his fastest of a run at 42.6 now, so he's had a big improvement. Still up by half a second now as well, so Alesh Mum and Joseph Galkov, those two are very close on lap times. As I talk about Alesh Mum bins it. So that's going to put him out of qualifying now. He's not going to get out there for another lap. As Jaroslav Galkov does go faster than Chris Generelli, but Chris Generelli is on a fast lap at the moment. But only equaling his time. 1.5 times, as you can see, time is now finished. Everyone who's in the pit, that's the positions they're going to be in, unless anyone who's behind them gets a faster run. Jaroslav Galkov, if he can gain another 2.5 tenths there, if he can get up to 3 tenths of a second, he will put himself up into 4th position on the grid. Chris Generelli also only a couple of tenths, he's only not even half a tenth behind Jaroslav Galkov. So the middle field here is still all to play for. The top two, they're both down on their laps. I do believe Heiko Sherman has taken yet another pole position here. Chris Generelli is down on his line. Jaroslav Galkov does cross the line. He stays in 5th. And Chris Generelli, he is down on his lap time as well. Not gaining, he's bailed to the pit lane. So, on pole, we will have Mr. Heiko Sherman as everyone has dived into the pit lane. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop over to the track intro screen. Just as we set up the information that you'll need for today's race. Again, as always, 1 hour race, 10-minute pit window, opening at the 35 minutes mark, will close at the 25 minutes mark remaining. It is going to be very wet still out on track, no change in that. We will have select a driver. So we will have the race gaps on, the drivers' names. But guys, I don't think they're going to have much to make fun of this race, considering it is so wet. The track is in flooded conditions, but the rain is going to get stronger in 10 minutes, and then it's going to get lighter in a further 10. I'm going to go, can't go to that, so I'm just going to go into the voice chat where all the drivers are, just to make sure everyone does have their rain lights on. Alright guys, as it is a wet race, can you please make sure you have your full lights on if possible, and make sure rain lights are on, as it is going to be very hard to see out there. Good luck to everyone, and keep it safe. So I've just jumped into the voice chat there, as you can tell, just to give drivers some quick little heads up, because today's race is going to be a very nasty one for the drivers. And the guys are going to start rolling any second now, so we're going to head over to the grid see it's absolutely downpouring here in Kent, just shy of Essex. These cars are there rolling. Back from Chris Generelli's car. We are going to turn off the autopilot as always. We're going to go to the broadcast screen. We're going to click on Jaroslav Galkov's car here. We're going to come up to Callum McLeod. Callum is way too far forward here. Callum's sitting as far forward as he possibly can. Mr. James Downing is way out of position. And we are green. I am going to have to double check the grid order in a second, guys, so we are going to keep an eye on it. So, currently fronts are running clean through first corners. So there's contact there between Stephen McAfee and Les Mum. Stephen McAfee is falling backwards here. He qualified high up the grid. So we will have to have a look over at that incident later on. But we are going to come into the chat. So it is a bug that we're seeing the damage on Amir Assad's car. So no one was out of position on the start, so that's nice to see. The start was clean. Looking down the grid, Stephen McAfee's fallen all the way down to 9th place on the grid here. So as we come around for our first lap, we do see Mr. Jaroslav Galkov now getting around Mr. Callum McLeod. They keep swapping positions. So Leshman is down in 7th. So after the first lap we have Heiko Sherman, Amir Assad, Callum McLeod, Jaroslav Galkov, James Downing in 5th. Chris Generelli 6th, Leshman 7th, Stephen McAfee, Rooter Van Broek in 9th, and Mr. Kenneth in 8th. Callum McLeod did run wide there, coming into a little side-by-side contact there. I don't believe there was any foul play there. That was unfortunate for Mr. James Dowling there. So we will be looking back at some of these drivers and their contacts that they've had. As you see, there is not much visibility from these cars. Chris Generelli off in the grass. Not where you want to be in the wet race. But at the moment, Heiko Sherman, Amir Assad, Jaroslav Galkov, Callum McLeod. Now your top 4 drivers. As Callum McLeod is right behind Jaroslav Galkov. So this is our current battle. Is this going to be another case of tight racing for the whole group? Amir Assad is with the fastest lap, trying to catch up into Mr. Heiko Sherman. Callum getting in there a bit too loose there, losing a lot of time to Jaroslav. So guys, if you are joining us, make sure to come say hello in Discord. Link is in the description below. Also, the link to the Sim Racing GP website is in there as well. That'll bring you straight to our community where we host all our ACC leagues. But if you are wanting to take part, you do have to be in the Discord, so we can talk and you can read the rule book. And also, as you can see, everyone's running a lovely custom livery, so to be able to see it and being shared in there. Also, if you don't have a custom livery, you can always message me in the Discord, and I've made pretty much every single livery that's out on this grid bar Mr. Heiko Shimmers from Whippleman Racing. Rd11, his livery is a standard in-game custom livery. He has only signed up today, so thought he'll come and join us. That's why he hasn't got a livery. But the battle here is not going away. Mr. Callum McLeod is all over the back of this McLaren. Let's hope there's not an incident like happened here last year with the GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Series, where first and second place in the McLarens, the McLaren and the Mercedes had a contact on the back part of the track and sent the McLaren actually over the barrier and into the hedge. And it was actually, as we were looking on the Jaroslav Galkov's car, it was actually the Jota McLaren that went up and into the hedgerow. It went straight over the barriers. So it does look like, see, there's some places Jaroslav is able to pull away from Callum McLeod. And Mirasad is still closing onto Heiko. So there's a couple of gaps out there already, but there's also some still close racing. Down to the final corner, another time round. Callum McLeod, as you can see, is dropping back. The places where last time he was really up close behind Jaroslav Galkov. With Mirasad putting yet another fast lap in, 4/10 faster than Mr. Heiko Sherman. For 1:39.495 now from Mr. Mirasad. Can Mirasad play into Chris Generelli's hands here by battling with Heiko and possibly even overtaking Heiko, was going to bring Heiko's points down? But saying that Chris Generelli is down in 5th, he needs to make sure to get up into higher positions here. So even though we are in wet conditions, there is still a mandatory pit stop. The guys still have to change tyres. Not compound, it's just you have to change tyres, because in ACC, the same as in GT World Challenge, there is a slick tyre, there is a wet tyre. That is all you have. You'll find in some events they will cut a slick tyre to try to make it an intermediate, but it is no actual intermediate tyre given by Pirelli to GT World Challenge. Obviously is run by the SRO. Well, this game is the official game of. As you see, Jaroslav Galkov made a mistake. Callum McLeod, he's not letting off. As I just watch over the leaders' lap times. Mr. Heiko Sherman was faster that time than Amir Saad, so Amir doesn't look like he made a little mistake, because he was 6/10 of a second off of his best lap. Heiko's only half a tenth off of his best time. As we look over at Heiko Sherman now. Back onto Callum McLeod. As he looks back, and you can see Chris Generelli there in the back. And now we're looking from the helmet. Callum McLeod gets a little bit too loose. That's going to bring Chris Generelli around the outside of Callum McLeod. Callum McLeod saying, I do not have any contact here. So guys, if you want to be a part of the races but you don't want to race itself, you can also join me in the commentary booth, or if you want to, you can join us as a steward. Stewarding would involve making decisions about contact between two cars, informing myself, and then also handing out the penalties in the in-game system. So unfortunately, the reason why our race broadcast system that we are using doesn't show any penalties is because Assetto Corsa doesn't give out that information. So that's why we cannot see any 5 or 10-second penalties given to the guys as Chris Generelli gets it completely messed up. Coming out that final corner, Callum McLeod easily to go around the outside into turn 1. Made the move well before, but just hang it on the outside again. Okay, you make that mistake, I'll stay there. As Alesh Mum is getting now attacked by Mr. James Dowling. Those two are side by side. So Alesh Mum is starting to fall down the grid. Alesh Mum is trying to just guarantee 4th place in the championship from today's race. But without Miss Natalie Lee here, if he can gain some more places up, he could actually end up taking 3rd place from Natalie, and they'd be in a battle for 3rd and 4th in the final race. So I was about to say, it looks like everyone's settling into position a little bit more now, but this battle between Chris Generelli and Callum McLeod is really starting to spice up. They're within the second of each other. Callum McLeod is falling quite a bit now off of Mr. Joseph Galkov at 2.6 seconds. So we've got a battle here that's nice and tight, but we've also got Amir Assad. He's just over 1 second, 1 second now away from Mr. Heiko Sherman in 1st place. So we switch over to that battle in 1st. As we said, the damage on the front of Amir Assad's car is only visual, it's a visual bug, I should say. His car is in complete tack, in one good condition. As we've seen him when he left the grid, his car was in that position. Stephen McAfee has gone off circuit. Stephen McAfee's coming in the pits early here. I can't see no damage on his car. So the only thing I can think of is he's coming into the pits to retire the car. This would promote Ken step up into 9th place. Just see through the spray, Callum McLeod car. You can just pick out that BMW with Chris Generelli occasionally. What Callum McLeod needs to do is knuckle down, stay focused, and catch back up to Jaroslav Galkov. But here's McLaren. Jaroslav is starting to pull away. He's now 2 second gaps away from Mr. Callum McLeod, but out front we've got Heiko Sherman and Amir Assad, currently about 2 seconds apart from each other, but they have already pulled an 8, nearly a 9-second lead over 3rd place. Alesh Mum coming in the pits early as well. No, that was a false reading. I was about to say, why is Alesh Mum coming in early for? I haven't seen any yellow flags or anything else from Mr. Callum McLeod. Mr. Wood is showing us off. No, we're getting a lot of fake calls here from the flag system. As this is the battle here for first and second. They are coming down into the dip in the back section. So Billy Munger had one of his big incidents years ago. Not the one that took his legs off. That was at Donington Park, unfortunately. Rissard trying to really... Oh, Amir. Trying to push all the track limits he can do to try to gain some time on Heiko. But doing it, he's making more mistakes, if anything. So Stephen McAfee is coming back on track. I wonder if he had some sort of issue with the car. But he is back out on track. All the way down in 10th place, unfortunately for him. Callum McLeod just put the fastest lap of the race in with a 1:49.0. That's half a tenth of a second faster than Amir has pushed out. Callum McLeod, fastest lap of the race. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Callum McLeod with a fastest lap. I think we need to make every rain be a wet race for him. Looking back from Chris Generelli's car, we can see Mr. James Downing is trying to catch back up. As Chris is falling now 3.5 seconds from Callum McLeod. So there's battles currently all over the circuit. There's a couple of gaps in between the places that are battling and other drivers, but they are battles going around, so it's very nice to see. There's even a battle down in 8th and 9th at the moment. They're 2 seconds apart. And Les Robinson again doing the Les Rom things, middle of nowhere, 13 seconds behind Mr. James Downing. That's Mr. Root has gone off circuit again. Now handing Ken Estep into 8th place now. Unfortunately, as we said, Mr. Rooter van Warwick does not have a custom livery. Stephen McAfee's in the pits for a second time. Stephen McAfee's coming into the racing line. He needs to give up the position. He does so, but he does come out in a very bad place over that. It's one of the problems about Brands Hatcher's pit exit. Is not in a good position at all. As he came out in the battle for 5th and 6th place. But it is still goes to Callum McLeod with the fastest lap of the race, still chasing down Jaroslav Galkov, who's pulling away again. Callum's last lap time was not as good as his bests. Callum's able to put all these laps together that he's been doing. His personal best lap would put him 7/10 of a lap faster than Chris Generelli and 4/10 of a second faster than Jaroslav Galkov per lap. So if Callum McLeod can keep this going, not mess up his pit stop, and to slow down the time, get onto his pit limiter, change onto another set of wet tyres, and if he's able to stay at this pace of his fastest lap, he could do good. So Mr. Ken Estep's got off circuit now, giving Rooter back the position. You don't want to be out that far, Mr. Ken. So, if you have not known, we do have our GT America series starting at the end of this month on the 29th. Yes, the 29th, so just 2 weeks' time on a Friday, we will have GT America starting It's a 2 AM start here in the UK, so it'll be the 30th for myself. And it will be a 6 PM Pacific time for open free practice. It's only a 45-minute race, no pit stop window. There is no mandatory stop in that race. So that'll be on Friday nights. That won't be streamed due to the time. I may race in a couple of races, so I have signed up for that one. So that'll be one to keep an eye out for. And then after this next week, what will be the final round of the GT3? So it's Callum McLeod. No, Callum, our current fastest lap guy, has binned it and trying to get the car back on track, because then spun it again. He's got to stop trying to put the power down. Callum McLeod falling from 4th down to 7th. That was all on his own as well. That must be absolutely gutting for him, as we were bigging him up, saying how good he's doing. As James Downing's now got past Chris Gianarelli as well. So we switch over to them. So at the moment, top 5 cars: BMW, McLaren, Audi, BMW. Then it's BMW for Mr. Leshman, Mercedes for Mr. Callum McLeod, who's unfortunately just dropped it from 4th place down to 7th. Wouter van Morik, he is in the Nissan GTR. Canessa in his Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo. Unfortunately, far back now is Mr. Stephen McAfee in the sole running Porsche. Mr. Sean Cole is running very busy at the moment, so he's not able to make the races. That is massively disappointing for Callum McLeod. I bet in his helmet, his virtual sim helmet, he is screaming and shouting "Blue Murder," as any Scotsman would do on a daily basis anyway. Stephen McAfee is now just gone 2 laps down. Saikashima is still pulling away from Amir Assad. He's now got a 3.3 second gap. So Jaroslav Galkov, he's 10 seconds back from the lead too now. But we are looking from a Lesh Mum's car at that Mercedes. A very angry Mercedes from Scotland. He's going to be like, I want my positions back. So I expect Callum to be very aggressive here to Alesh Mum, saying, give me my places back. I want to get back up into 4. As pit window is opening in just over 2 minutes time. So remember, at the 35-minute mark, the pit window will open. They have 10 minutes to come in for a mandatory tyre change. And then that pit window will shut at the 25-minute remaining mark. As Callum McLeod throws it again, spinning. Gained a load of time back up onto Alesh after having this first incident. And let's just binned it again. So unfortunately the field is now quite spread out. So as you can see, Joseph Galkov James Dowling and Chris Generelli covered by 5 seconds. Equally spread out there between them. Mirsad now 3.1 seconds off from Mr. Heiko Sherman. So pit window opens now in 30 seconds time. Let's see if anyone comes in for an early pit stop. So we're going to give it Heiko Sherman. He's going to be too quick to the pit lane. So Mr. Luke Van Mort goes off in turn 1. So the first person who's going to be able to make a pit stop valid, an early pit stop, is Mr. Jaroslav Galkov here. No, he stays out. James Dowling stays out. Chris Generelli says that stays out. Chris Generelli now with the new fastest lap. Chris has now found his groove. A 1:38.732. Is Alesh Mum going to be the first to come in for a pit stop? No, Alesh Mum is staying out as well. Callum McLeod is pushing. He's refusing to give up. He's in an angry mode as always. So looks like Mr. Kennester up there having a little bit of trouble. So I do apologise there, guys. I was kind of spacing out. Again, I've had very little sleep, so I do apologise if the stream is not as entertaining as normal. So I do, like I said, I completely apologise for it. So, Wouter van Murk, he's the first person into the pit lane. Remember, he will have to change tyres, not onto dry tyres, obviously. He will want to stay on wets. He is the first car in pit lane to take his mandatory stop. So if only the midfield here come take their pit stop. No, they are all staying in. Or out on circuit, I should say. You can see the spray from everyone's car there. Thank you, Terry. I've put myself down, buddy, because I'm just feeling a bit rough, feeling low, very little lack of sleep. So very hard to concentrate. But Chris Generelli, he's now found his groove. Can he get past Mr. James Dowling here? Voot is still in the pits. He has completed his mandatory pit stop. He's rolling out pit road now. So he has completed his first ever full pit stop with us. We are going to make sure his was completely clean. And it was. Not even a speeding on pit lane. Not even a speeding on pit lane. As you can see, we wouldn't start on a flooded track. The rain is getting less. At the end of the race, it should only be medium rain. This is still heavy rain at the moment. So everything is still to play for. The track did start as a flooded circuit, so that was really bad conditions for the drivers. It has been progressively getting better. This is why we do have the difference in weather. So we have Mr. Ken Estep here. He's down in 8th place. There's James Dowling there with a 4-wheel power slide coming down Paddock Hill Bend. Because went it one of two ways. Lucky for him, it went the way. That was a lucky save. Let's see Alesh Mum in pit lane now as well. So it's going to be nice to be out on track, hopefully, with the GT America boys a couple of times over the season, racing with them. Also, like I said, upcoming seasons, we've got our Simpit Road League on iRacing coming up very, very shortly in the GT3s for the AM cars, and in the Pro class we'll have the GTE cars. So that one's going to be a very tight, interesting season for them. Our iRacing Oval boys raced last night as well. They had a very interesting race from looking at the overall standings from that. And in September the 3rd at the moment, I do believe. No, sorry, September 6th. September 6th should be round 1 of the GT4 series, was going to replace this season. So this is season 2. We're going to be going into season 3 with the GT4 cars. We may have to push the start date a little bit further back on there, what I don't really want to do, but I might have a conflicting issues that I cannot get out of being in the way of being able to host the races and also be able to do the live stream for the rounds. So we might have to change the dates for that. So Steve McAfee, as Callum McCall goes wide again, Graham Hill this time. So Leshman, James Dowling gained a position in pits from a Leshman there. Leshman maybe being too hesitant in the pit lane. Amir Assad is in the pits now. The guys are going to have to stake their pit either this lap or next, or their pit stop is not going to get in. So the top 5 now, still not taking their stop. Bottom 6th half. Go past Mr. Kennesaw with Joseph Galkov. Leshman does follow through. Joseph keeps his lap clean as well. We are going to fit one more time back into the game. So everyone's lap is clean. That's the main thing, making sure everyone's pit stop is going to be valid. I do apologise that we have to keep clicking out. I am contemplating not running ACC TV for the overlay system for next season, and running the in-game system so we can keep an eye on positions better, keep an eye on penalties, but use their auto system as Jaroslav Galkov goes off circuit. Jaroslav Galkov has got in front of Amir Assad. Amir Assad did come into the pit lane if I'm correct, but his pit stop was not valid. Amir Assad will have to come into the pits. Yeah, Amir Assad is back in pit lane. So we do see our drivers in pits. That was Chris Generelli coming back to the pit lane as well. These guys are leaving it very close to get this pit stop valid. Psycho Sherman, his laptop, his pit is valid. Chris Generelli, I think, towed back to the pits. This could be his championship over. I think Amir Assad also came into the pit stop and it did not validate his pit stop. So he may have changed down the fuel but not changed tyres. So this puts Jaroslav Galkov now second place with James Dowling 3.4 behind him. The pit window is now closed. Amir Assad and Callum McLeod though are in pit lane. We are going to have to keep an eye on these two to see if it clears their pit stop. Callum McLeod was in pit lane, so his pit stop has cleared. As Amir Assad, after I do believe the pit stop not validating for him, has retired the car. So that's took Amir Assad out of the race. So down to 9 runners currently. Chris Generelli is still in pit lane, so I do apologise. I do believe that Mr. Chris Generelli does have a bit of an issue going on. So everyone has taken a mandatory pit stop now. I do need to see though if Mr. Callum McLeod has sped in pit lane. So we will go one more time into the in-game view. Everyone has taken their mandatory pit stop and it's all clean. So no issues here. Mr. Oh! So we have had contact between second place and 6th place, so we're going to have a look at a replay from this. Unfortunately we are looking at the wrong car. We'll click over. Oh, Jaroslav was given the space, so does look like it's Mr. James Dowling and Mr. Jaroslav Galkov. Looks like they've had contact now. Jaroslav Galkov loses it all on his own. It's on the racing line. Oh, that's going to be a lot of damage there for both cars. So Mr. James Dowling there was not paying attention to the yellow flags of Jaroslav Galkov spinning, coming down Graham Hill Bend. Can they keep the cars going? Callum McLeod is 36 seconds behind them. If I was those two, I would not want to take any pit stop right now. And just keep the car going for another 20 minutes. Yes, it may be hard to drive right now, but I would not want to take another pit stop. Because taking any pit stop is going to make them fall way far back. A lot of damage to that McLaren now. And to the very front of this Audi. The hood is flapping in the wind now for the Audi of Mr. James Dowling. But again, we said about the lurker, Mr. Leshman, 1.8 seconds away from Mr. Callum McLeod. As I say that, falls back to 2.6. Yeah, exactly. I think he was trying, as he was literally on racing line, I was thinking he was trying to, as he was sliding, he stopped and then tried to get off that racing line knowing the car was coming. Hence why he pulled forward, where a car should definitely not be on the circuit, so he was trying to get away from it. So I think it could be a little bit of a telling off for both drivers really. Mr. James Downing will get a warning saying like keep an eye on yellow flags. You do get yellow flags warning. It even says double yellow flags when you have two cars, car right on top of you. So we look back from Heiko Sherman. You can see the rain has really not coming down as strong as it has been in today. It has now lightened up a bit. Not too much, but it has got less. There's less spray coming off the cars now. And Mr. Jaroslav Galkov will obviously have a thing about keeping. Yeah, exactly, Terry. So obviously, Mr. Jaroslav Galkov will be had words with as well. Like, if you're gonna spin, please stay where you are till it is clear to move. I don't think Mr. James Dowling was gonna be aware that where he was. Amir Joa took his pit stop, but it looked like he did not change his tyres in his pit stop, so he had to come back in again, and I think then he got annoyed a bit and has done a Callum McLeod normally, and did a rage quit. But Mr. Callum McLeod, even though he's had quite a few spins today, is currently up in 4th position. Yes, Callum up in 4th in the wet, and did not mess up his pit stop. Came in on pit limiter correctly, changed his tyres, and got away with it. And there is Mr. Callum McLeod coming up to laps Mr. McAfee. The pits are very easy to work out if you take your time with them. Obviously, some guys have got a little bit more experience in ACC than others, and to be more intuitive to the drivers in America, we are going to be not having that pit stop in the GT America series. So the race is only 45 minutes, there is going to be no pit stops. However, when we come back to the GT World Challenge Series, we're going to be in the GT4 cars, and we will still have our mandatory pit stop in that series as we do right now. See, Mr. Caffey is getting blue flag waved at him. Callum McLeod just giving him enough time, doesn't have to push on him. Stephen McAfee cannot defend though from the overtake. So Mr. McAfee goes wide there. I was trying to see if he was going to come back and try to block there. Porsche is nowhere near settled under his feet. Chris Gianarelli is back on pit road now, on track. It's good to see. Terry, F-pit cycles in ACC. Again, Terry, you jumped into a race with not even an hour's worth of driving, having to learn everything within that short amount of time. It does take a while, but when you get it down to a T and you've got that knowledge buried in your head, it comes literally second nature. But everyone now is spread out quite evenly, so out in first place, Mr. Heiko Schuermann with a nearly a 26-second lead now over Jaroslav Galkov in second place. James Downing, he's in third. Joe says Terry wants pit stops in the American series. Well, how about we put tyres and you have to refuel your car? Just to be extra annoying, just so you have to make sure there's another thing checked off on your pit strategy. Chris Gianarelli is shown yellow flags. So Chris Gianarelli made a mistake. He is quite way down now, unfortunately. Honestly, I do. Ooh, Mr. Terry Crouch wants it to go full hardcore pits strategy. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. Do the first series for the GT America guys, so the late night for the Americans, run it as the first round, 45-minute race with no pit stops, and then when everyone gets themselves into a rhythm, works out how ACC works, and then in season 2 of that league, what will make it more rounds over the series and add weather cycles into that series as well. We will incorporate it up to an hour race and put in the mandatory pit stop systems. Yeah, so again, season 1 is going to be day races or night races, all in the dry for GT America. Season 2 is where we're going to start playing around with you boys, having wet races at night, even wet races during the day, so on and so forth. Obviously increasing the amount of race distance time and also increasing the amount of needing a pit stop. Heiko is cruising, but that's his first fastest lap of this entire race. Unfortunately, they have not implemented snow in the race. But how about I give you a fun story? Chris Generelli going, no Heiko, I am having this fastest lap from you. Amir Sada's holding the fastest lap for a long time. And then for a little while, Mr. Callum McLeod was the fastest car on the circuit. Yes, our crazy Scotsman who normally wants to always crash, always not taking his pit stop correctly, was fastest car on circuit. So we're going to run, like I said, GT America, we're going to run the first season, dry races, day and night, for each circuit. So one race will be daytime, the next race will be nighttime. Cycle through that way, so every track will also have a day and a night race. So that would be an interesting one to throw that first into you guys to get that into your books. Then we'll throw rain into the mixture and increase the race length. Callum was fast and then he crashed. Callum is shocked. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that shocked me, that Callum McLeod was actually fastest on track. Callum McLeod's fastest that was 1:38.9. Heiko's is a 1:38.2. Joseph Galkov with a 1:39.7. And now Chris Generelli with a 1:37.855. Quickest by quite a way now. Only, yeah, actually 4.5 tenths up. But unfortunately, being sat in the pit stop for quite a while, he is actually going to be fighting Mr. Stephen McAfee, who currently is, let's have a look at the distance between these two. So Mr. McAfee is just coming into the final corner. So Chris Generelli is roughly just under half a lap back from Stephen McAfee to gain one more place. But ladies and gentlemen, from the results from this round, I can tell you now, if it stays as it is, Heiko Sherman will win the championship today. Heiko Sherman does have traffic in front of him, of Mr. Ken Estep. Again, it's on the overtaking car to make their way around the slower car, not the slower car having to jump out the way. But Ken coming on the inside of the corner said, no, I'm just going to stay here, you go on the racing line, as it was a bit easier for him to do. Yeah, that was a very easy corner for him. It was pretty much just a sharpened race today from Mr. Heiko Sherman, that is a fact there, Terry. Especially with the possibilities of Chris not even making the race. He only jumped in during qualifying as he was running late from work. So under 10 minutes to go now. So in total we are now 2 hours and 10 minutes away from the end of the season in time on the circuit. Because obviously next week's race will be the same length as normal. So 15-minute practice, 20-minute qualifying, then our 1 hour race. Mr. Canestep has Mr. Chris Generelli behind him. This is not full position. So as you can see, Chris Generelli is now overtaking Mr. Canestep and instantly is getting blue flag to say faster car, but it's not faster car. It's because of the position, and it still is a valid flag. That is still the way it has to be shown. So everyone has settled down now. Mr. James Dowling has fallen back from Jaroslav Galkov. Jaroslav Galkov is actually keeping his lap times very close to Mr. Heiko Sherman's lap times. He's not found. To add ballast onto his car now would be a bit of a naughty thing to do. But yes, Heiko has definitely done, excuse me, very well over the season. But again, Miss Natalie Lee not showing up today. Alesh Rum up in 5th place. This could be even more interesting here. I'm just going to work out the points in a moment, so bear with me 1 second. Alesh Rum is in 4th. So he'll gain 12 points from this round. 12 points will put him just a couple of points behind Natalie. So Natalie's staying on 121 points. Alesh Rum, if he stays in 4th, will go up to 117 points. So that's going to be close out. So, if Natalie Lee has a bad race next time or doesn't show up, Alesh Rum will take 3rd place in the championship. Terry said, give Heiko ballast when I join, he wins too much. Well, Terry, the thing is, if you look at the GT America series and you see Mr. Max Guyon in the other Merc, who's the first to sign up, I'll give you a hint. That's not Max Guyon. That's me. Yes, I have signed up for GT America and I'm going to make some of the races in my Mercedes. And I can give Mr. Heiko Sherman here a good whooping at some tracks. As we've seen just the other week, no, actually not this weekend. Weekend before, I was streaming myself racing on ACC. Is with the Aris community. We were at Watkins Glen, quite a big grid actually. This router has gone off circuit. Oh, he's put it into the wall. I said I aren't making all the races. Doesn't say I'm not going to try to make all the races. So Root's going, I am getting clean out of the way here for Heiko. As Chris Generelli is looking at Heiko in front of him going, I'm laps down for you. Chris Generelli is on lap 29 right now. Unfortunately, but Mr. Heiko Sherman was on lap 32. So unfortunately there's time he had to spend in the pits. Obviously we're not going to have a go for being having to do that, but unfortunately it has cost him the championship today. So look at Mr. Callum McLeod in the Mercedes. He is still the fastest car in the third sector. But fortunately for him, he is 24.5 seconds off of third place. Just think, guys, if he didn't have all his incidences, and then when he was recovering the car, spinning again by getting too heavy on the throttle, what could have been for Callum McLeod, we could be looking at a second place here for Callum. Stephen McAfee getting out of the way of Chris Generelli. It's Callum McLeod. We talk about him, and he goes off track yet again. Up front, we do have Heiko Schumann, followed by Mr. Jaroslav Galkov here in the McLaren. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I am working on something very nice for the GT World Challenge GT4 League. I'm looking at some nice overlays to show off each driver's cars. And also, I may ask each driver to send a picture of themselves in. I'm not 100% sure on that one just yet. So you may not have to be that bad and have to have your mug shown on the live stream. But most likely be having your car on there, and also it'll show your race number, name and your team name. So keep an eye out on that for next season. Root has gone off circuit again. This time going along the start straight. Oh yeah, some severe damage on the front of that car. Taking out the marker boards. As Ken Estep actually overtakes him now. 4th position. Ken Estep up in 6th as Ruta is going to have to retire that car. Jaroslav Galkov coming on to the incident. As you can see, the drivers do inboard, as well as getting the overlay at the top of the car, they do have a Lumi rank in the car that show what sector the yellow flag is in. Also, where the slow car is, but also give you the whole heads up about double yellows mean that you are on top of this incident. Slow down. As I do believe Woot has nearly lost all steering and is just trying to get the car home under its own power. As Heiko Sherman now starts his final... No, sorry, we're on board with Mr. Callum McLeod. So Mr. Callum McLeod is going to have to keep an eye out for when Woot is around. So as you can see, white flag saying it is a slow car. Who's trying to keep the car off circuit and just bring the car home. Heiko Sherman, new fastest lap to start his final lap. So we're going to turn our auto system off now. We're going to sit with Mr. Heiko Sherman. Let's have a look from the front splitter as we go round. For one more time. Stephen McAfee's now gained a position from Mr. Root. Steady, very nice and steady here. Coming down the big compression here. Chris Generelli's now overtaking Root. So Root, unfortunately for his first race, that incident has cost him a 6th place finish. And now it's down in 9th place. So this is the other compression, just for the marshal posters on that left hand side. So we had an incident. Mr. Root, I believe, has towed. Yes, he has taken a shortcut back to the pits, and even though his lap time is going to be showing it there, it's not going to be a valid lap time. So even though he took the shortcut back to the pit, that's why he just jumped back up positions. That's why we jumped over on camera. But it is Mr. Heiko Sherman coming across the line. And to win here at Brands Hatch also takes the championship as well. Congratulations to Heiko Sherman. Great race from him. Absolutely outstanding as per usual from him. Amir was giving a good battle at the start. Jaroslav Galkov in his McLaren, he's going to come home in P2. So congratulations to him. So James Dowling now, he's going to come across the line, bring home 3rd place in the Audi for Betty Racing. Yep, Brand Snatch was definitely a moist one today. Only because Amir messed up though, Terry, that it was a bit of a clear race for him. So Callum McLeod comes home in 4th place. Throwing a big slide down. Turn one as Les brings home the final position in 5th. Stephen McAfee bringing it home now in 7th place. So that's everyone has finished the race now. We have some of the guys doing burnouts, doing donuts. But guys, that is today's race over and done with. And like I said, taking the championship win today, Mr. Heiko Sherman. So thank you for joining, Terry. Thank you for the kind message again, guys. Please drop a like and a subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow, helps us get this out to more people seeing it. It helps the algorithm go, get eyes on this league, and drag more people to the events. So next time we are live is next week for the final round at Spa. It's going to be an early morning race, so the sun's going to be rising. So keep an eye for that. But that is us done for today, ladies and gentlemen. My name has been Mike Vowles. Thank you for joining us. And as always, we'll see you on the track. Take care, guys.